Hello traders, welcome to our training session today. I was training a new student a few days ago and we were discussing removing the noise from the chart. That is, the more indicators that you have on the chart, the more complicated trading can appear to be, and it can be. And what is a way of looking at a chart to clearly see a trend? And I was teaching him how to use Heikin Ashi candles, and he said, wow, I notice it's not in your main course. This is something you must spread out with your students. So what I'm doing is just doing a short 10-minute video now to put up on YouTube, and I'll do a much more extensive one as soon as I finish this one and get it out to my members today. Now remember, the more tools and techniques you look at, the more complicated trading can be. And as you hear me preach virtually in every training session, master one strategy at a time. And what I'm about to show you is just another strategy. It's another technique. And once again, traders, you need to find something that really resonates and suits your trading style. And Heikin Ashi, for many people, they love doing it. Heikin Ashi, of course, is a Japanese candlestick, and translated it means average price bars. Now our goal in our course is to achieve $400 a day per contract. One of the best ways of doing that is, of course, to be trend trading, or to recognize when you have a change in trend, and Heikin Ashi can actually help you in that area. Now if you haven't already done so, if you go to the lower right hand part of your screen, you'll be able to, down here, put that up into full screen, because we're about to go and have a look at some charts. And of course, if you haven't already read one of my risk disclaimers on my website or one of my YouTube videos, here it is. So please feel free to stop the video at this stage and have a look at that. And of course, all of the techniques that we're about to discuss are all in the Day Traders Fast Track program, and the Heikin Ashi candles will be a new module that I'll actually be adding over within the next 24 hours. However, let me say this once again, you can only trade so many strategies before you start to lose sight and it becomes complicated. So this is a fantastic tool. It is a methodology and it works brilliantly. However, once again, remember, we suffer from what we call ego depletion. The more decisions that we have to make, the more difficult life can be, particularly when it comes to trading. So let's go and have a look at some charts, and I'll allow you to make up your own mind as we go along. So let me just clear a couple of things off here. So what we're looking at right now is a standard chart that we would normally be looking at from a day-to-day basis. It doesn't matter, by the way, whether you're trading futures, forex, or stocks. Heikin Ashi candles, there's lots of different versions of the software. I'll quickly show you two. Most of them are adjustable, that is, you can adjust the sensitivity to them, and what they do, they can remove some of the noise in the market. However, for your traders that are very price action orientated, it hides a lot, but we'll have a quick look at that in a moment. So let's just look at the standard chart to begin with, and let me remove the channel just so we can have a nice clean chart here. So if we look at what we've got down here, we've got very simple a T25 here. You can see traders 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candle pullback entry here. You've then got a T2 or a T1. Even though our long term's not overbought yet, you've still got, it's really bouncing off of 34. As you can see here, it's bouncing off the 89. So it's really you have a number of entry reasons to enter for trade here. 34 bounce, 89 bounce, and a T2, and it ends up on the next candle being a T1. Up here we've got a T2, and you've also got a T1 formation. Here you've got a T2, an entry here. Down here you actually had a T2 right on that candle, or a T1 or a T1, and down here you've got an 89 bounce. So trading the fast track standard entries, we've already got many different entries there, and without applying the channel here, I can tell you now that's a T89, and that's probably a T89 up here as well. So a couple of things you want to consider. First of all, how many trades have we had in a trend, because as you know, you want to be extra cautious. After you've had 3 to 4 pullbacks in a trend, you usually get a decent change in trend or a decent pullback before the trend continues, or you have a change in trend. So we'll have a look at that as well. But first of all, now we've seen that, we can see what our standard chart looks like. By the way, if I didn't mention it a few minutes ago, this is the NQ 133 tick chart. This will be applicable to any market. It doesn't matter really what you're trading. Up here you've got a T10 signal here. You've got, of course, a lot of little divergence trades, but let's ignore those for a moment. So let me go to the chart and let me remove the super scalper. The super scalper is our paint bars there. Now, as a reminder to our clients that don't have, or students that don't have the super scalper, remembering it's just a candle formation, and we've got two up candles and the third candle ticks above, so you don't have to have the super scalper. So now let me just point out one other thing. You may remember down here you had a T25 entry there. You almost had a T25 here, but remember you would have still been probably in that trade, and you weren't stopped out of that one because remember your stop is down here. So you had 3 candle pullback, but remembering you're waiting for a tick above there, but then you have that happen down here. So you had a T25, 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 T25 again. So you, once again, traders, those of you that don't know the rules to T25, it's very black and white. But let's now go and apply Heikin Ashi candles. Now I have a number of different programs or indicators, and you can find a ton of these, of course, on the internet. There's a lot of them. So what you want to do is play around with them and find something that works with you. With most of them you can adjust them, as I mentioned earlier, make them more sensitive. So if you're a Ninja Trader user or an NT4 trader, you'll be able to get nearly all of these free of charge. Now with this particular one, you can see what it does, and we see the blue lines here. It tells me really when I get a close of a blue, it's telling me I have an entry. Close of a blue, entry. Close of that blue there, entry. Close of a blue, entry. Close of this blue, entry. Now of course you can trade counter trend trades, but the safest formation for us, or safest way to trade is of course with the trend. Now a couple of tips I want to give you is this, that our blue line is the 8 EMA. So you really want to have your 8 EMA trending in the direction of your trade, and what I'd still recommend is that you have a close over the 8 EMA as a qualifier for this particular trade. So virtually all of these actually qualify in that area. So you had a trade there, you had another one here, as I mentioned, pointed them out. Now down here your entry may not have been, and let me just move along here, until if you're waiting for a close above the 8 EMA is there. Now another little thing with various programs here with these candles, note my fractal spots, the black dots. If I was to remove the Heikin Ashi indicator right now, you'll see that I have a tail coming down to the black dot and there. So some of them will remove the tails. Now of course the tails can be valuable information, such as where to place your stop. So with this particular program, what I've got to watch here is, of course, if I put my stop 2 ticks say below this candle, I'm actually not going to be below the candle because this is hiding the tail of the candle. So just be aware of that with some of these programs. Okay, now so a couple of things there. We wanted to use our 8934 just as we do with our standard programming for our trend. So you can see you've got multiple entries there in the direction of a trend. Now if you're a scalper, this is a brilliant strategy. Now here we then get a change in trend. You've got, what have we got here? You've got a sitting up here, you've got a T20, so you've got a nice crossover here, and then of course you're short. You get then an 89, sorry, my apologies, you get a 200 bounce. Away we go. Here you've got a crossover and away you go. So perhaps you can see there that as far as giving you clear directions where to enter, it can be a system or a strategy within itself. Particularly, it's very reliable if you trade it with a trend. So this is one program. Now let me show you another one. Let me just quickly go to this here, and where are we? This one, particular little one I've got, and you can see here it's just different colors. It's actually a total different one, and you can actually see the tails in this program. Now I like the ones where you see the tails because it just makes it easier to know where to place your stops. Now if you've got two screens or multiple screens, may I recommend that you consider and once again, because we're day trading here, and I recommend you only day trade one market, because if you're scalping like I do on a 133 tick chart, it can move really quickly on the NQ. If you're on the ES, you might go for a 500 volume or maybe a 550 tick. And have just a recommendation in the early days, maybe have two screens open next to each other, one with these candles on and one without, just your standard entries. Because at times, so let me just go back down here, you can see where our red. Now let me just remove this indicator for a moment. Oops, it's just ticking over. Let me just show you this. So let me disable that. So you can see here you do lose the information of reading the candles. Now for my trend line, those that love following and drawing your trend lines, of course, what have we got here? Fractals. You had a very nice, can't help myself traders there. You would have drawn a little trend line there. So you do lose some information. Those traders like to visually read the chart. Now if you haven't traded using Heikin Ashi, I may recommend you spend some time. It is a fantastic technique if that's what you like to do, because it can really keep you in trends longer, and it's just a trend. Well, it can be used of course for counter trend trading, but I use it for trend trading. Now just to recap a couple of really important things, I recommend that if you're trend trading, you want to be over and above the 8 EMA in the direction of your trend, and likewise if you close below the 8 EMA, consider exiting your trade. What I've got here, just looking here, the T25s are really hidden with this strategy. So if you like trading a T25s, this is really replacing the T25s in its own right. So traders, hopefully this gave you a few ideas and something to explore. Members, I'm doing a comprehensive training video as we hang up, or as I stop recording this one. I'm going to go in great detail with it, so all of my members, I'll give you the links for the updates. Traders, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. If you'd like any more information about my course, please drop me an email at trader@imadaytrader.com, or visit my website for my free ebook or to purchase my program. Thank you, traders.